Let's go back now live to Sandton in Johannesburg. Higher Education Minister Nzimande meeting with business leaders.
We are on the same side, and that is what I would like to repeat. We are on the same side as students insofar as provision of free higher education for poor students and assistance to those who cannot be able to afford, like we say, the missing middle, finding a way of dealing with them, which is what Mr. Nxasane's team is dealing with. The end game, we want stability in our institutions. That's why we are still pleading, and as government, we have not stopped engaging. Even this afternoon, there's going to be engagement now with this task team that the President appointed last week to specifically deal with stabilizing and saving the 2016 academic year, engaging students, engaging vice-chancellors. We have continued to engage churches, broadly faith communities, traditional leaders, and so on. I had an Imbizo not so long ago where we had various stakeholders who have an interest in higher education to say, let's all come together and find solution. We are saying to the students, your struggle is just, although we don't agree with some of the means, we don't agree with violence and destruction of property. But your call is correct. That's why we've got a presidential commission that must engage. That's why we've got this initiative that we're being briefed about in terms of the final report and recommendations to government. Let's save the academic year. Let's fight another day. We can't risk what we have just because we are not where some of the students actually want to be. But we're also very pleased that despite the fact that we are concerned about some universities not having gone back, more and more universities, the students are going back to want to finish the study and write, and we encourage them to do that. And we are saying let them give in their right to be able to finish the academic year.
Look, I was a student activist many, many years ago. So students must be radical, absolutely. But I think that we must all understand that sacrificing the 2016 academic year, the consequences for the country are horrendous. You have hospitals waiting for 1,400 to 1,500 doctors who come out of the system, who will be interned at hospitals, and hospitals plan according to that. Those doctors will not come out. You have people like Saika and others who are expecting a cohort of BCom students and others to come out and get into the accounting, and that will not happen. Students who are in matric now will not be able to register next year. Now these are horrendous consequences, and we can be romantic about these things, but that's real life. That's what happens. And so I think that we do need to appreciate that these consequences cannot happen for this country. And we do need to sit down and find a way out of this thing. And there's ongoing discussions around that. I also think that what this points to is that we need to look at this within the broader context. And that's why there have been so many efforts between business, government, parts of labor to actually say we need to build our economy and we need to grow our economy. Because that's, at the end of the day, that's what needs to happen to address the socioeconomic imbalances we have, and that over the long term begins to address these issues. Now, so I think that, I know a lot of people say how, students are right and so on and so on. The issue they're raising are absolutely right, but I think we must stop being romantic about this. There's some serious consequences here if we don't get this right. And so from, I think, a business point of view, there's already a shortage of skills. It's holding us back from a competitor point of view. We need to get those people out of universities and into the economy, and we can't sacrifice this.
Okay, any further questions? Let me take the first one to come back to.
I'm Laura Moses from Nzimande. As you mentioned, time seems to be a frustrating
Can you
element.
just raise your voice a bit?
Time seems to be a frustrating element in the team's discussion. The public and private initiative that's on the table. How long was the timeline to implementation?
Which ones are you referring to, sorry? To the ministerial task team. Oh.
I'm talking about timeline. I think the students that I've engaged with, they want to make.
Can you introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm Abdul from NBC Africa. The students that I've engaged with in the various projects, they want a solid date, not a date in the future, and say, fees for getting for course fees as possible in the near future. They want a solid date where the minister will say, this date, this is going to be possible, or this is what we planning to achieve in this timeline. What do you also want to say to the students as the minister talking to them now directly?
Okay. Angelo, you want to come back?
Minister, lots of talk about business interaction with the different stakeholders. When did you last have a meeting with the student leaders themselves? And when's the next meeting planned with the student leaders?
Just on, you're saying that we have to do what we can to try and salvage this academic year, have everyone ride and go to class. My question is how do you enforce this? How do you enforce the stability that you're seeking? Is it in the hands of the individual universities to try and make use of security police to reach out to people that are being disruptive? Or is it a holistic plan from the government side and how to approach this and how to get the stability?
You want to sneak in the last one?
Yes, please. And is there...
Introduce yourself.
Oh, sorry, I'm Claudia Madelish from Netwerk vir the Afrikaans Daily Newspapers. Is there any plan that you're currently working on if the stability is not found, that Marika has been spoken about, for next year? What is the department going to do if this academic year cannot finish?
Is there a last hand? Yes, sir.
What is Nzimande from Channels Television News Lagos? I just wanted to find out what is the level of confidence, in terms of businesses that are operating next to universities and things like that, in terms of destruction and all those things. Has there been an interaction between the business leaders in South Africa and those that are operating within the closer to universities in terms of destruction and all those things that are happening around destruction of business?
So that's the last question. Okay.
Sorry. My name is Victor from Eyewitness News. Simple question, and maybe just to deviate, apologies. Minister, a lot of people, a lot of dignitaries have come out in support of the Minister of Finance, considering the current situation with the charges.
Why don't we agree that we can have that separate discussion?
Okay, thank you.
This is not a matter for the university. Okay.
Yeah. You want to start?
On what?
Well, you were asked, I think, about businesses that are nearer to institutions that are experiencing.
No, I mean, I don't have first-hand knowledge. I mean, I haven't spoken to businesses in Braamfontein, for instance. But clearly, businesses must be concerned if there's unrest on the streets. And this is one of the things that we've been trying to say, that in fighting for the rights of people, you can't violate the rights of others, not in a democracy. I have plenty problems with some of the things our government does. But I fought very hard for an elective democracy where everybody can vote. Now, it's very different from fighting. When I struggled against the apartheid government, I struggled to bring down a government. Today, we've got to struggle for our rights, but build our government and build our country. And destruction on the streets, looting of business premises, burning of buses, cannot be tolerated. I mean, we need to be unequivocal about this. Those are criminal acts that must be treated criminally. It's got nothing to do with fees for poor students or no fees for poor students. So businesses are obviously concerned. And so when things like that happen, the law and order, forces of law and order must be there and must protect those businesses. And we've got to send out a message. We can't send out a message to our country that you want things done, you do it through anarchy. We can't. We've got to send out a message that we have the space to engage, we have the space to engage robustly, and we've got to engage. Now, maybe this is an old man talking, I don't know, but we've got to build that sort of country. Otherwise, we have a problem.
So maybe if I could comment, but which seems to, this process has been very inclusive. There have been a hell of a lot of people giving up a lot of their time that have been working on this non-stop till the middle of the night, and it's been very inclusive. Treasury have been involved, the Department of Higher Education, the Vice-Chancellor's Committee, student associations, chancellors of all the universities. So it's a bit disingenuous for certain them to say that they don't know about. The second thing is to answer your question, Angela, can we fund all education free? Absolutely not. The problem we have is dropout rate, poor students not making it, varsities producing in many areas not work-ready students, and varsities producing degrees with majors that make the poor student unemployable. So this is not just about funding. Hopefully we can put something together that will fund students completely. And as you go up in the matrix of affordability within the missing middle, there will be a lot of grant funding, but some of them might have to borrow some money. But it will concentrate on skills in high demand. Now, I'm not the minister, and Sizwe can answer that. That's the plan. But you can't just put a plan like this together in 2 months. Computer systems have to be built to track the student from inception throughout their varsity career. Plug the private sector in on internships, etc., so that you give the student a better shot of succeeding and maybe getting a job in an internship. Now, all of that has been happening. We sincerely hope the private sector is very committed to it. The minister, I believe, is very committed to it, and Sizwe's team. We now hope this finds approval through government structures and that it will roll within the not too distant future.
Maybe before the meeting, I think we are raising an important point in respect to interacting with students. But I think the issue which I think you are missing, especially from the media space, our interaction with student representatives across the country is that one of the biggest problems they are having is the subversion of democracy within institutions themselves, whereby interest groups have actually toppled their legitimacy such that they are no longer able to actually run programs and speak on behalf of their electorate. So it's interest groups that are not even defined that are actually leading, making up these demands, confronting managements in numerous instances. And in some institutions,
it would not just be one group. It would be 3, 4, 5 groups. You talk with this group, then the other group would say, no, you didn't talk to us, we don't agree with what you arranged with the other grouping. So that's another difficulty in respect to this particular matter. I think in your engagements, it would be quite important to interface with student representatives within institutions so that they can be able to give their own experience in respect to disruption of classes and academic activities of the institutions, including individuals who are not identified wearing balaclavas to disrupt academic programs in institutions, whom nobody can actually engage with them because they are not known. I think it's important to lift up those kinds of practices and dynamics within institutions when we're talking about this matter. Thank you.
I think it's very important to say this, to underline what the DG is saying. There are a multiplicity of interests and groupings in all of this among students, if truth be told. Excuse me. It depends who you talk to. And they often don't agree, many of them, amongst themselves. You know that as media. There are many interests. Some of the interests, in fact, are no longer about fees. They are about discrediting the current government by all means. So there are a multiplicity of these interests. What we are saying as government is to say to the larger student body, don't lose sight of your legitimate demands and don't allow your legitimate struggle to be hijacked. I don't know how that happened. I didn't touch anything. It's very important. That is the message we are saying to the student. Don't allow your legitimate struggle to be hijacked and be turned into a struggle of violence and destruction of property, which is what is happening now in almost all these institutions that have actually not properly gone back. It's use of violence. It's not persuasion and all that. Now, the timelines are known by everybody. There is a judicial commission that is going to give an interim report next month, and it's going to then give the final draft report in June next year and conclude by August. No one now can stand up and say, we shall start on the 1st of January 2017 to implement A, B, C, D, E, without the commission giving us guidelines. The other thing that I also need to say, we long started rolling out free higher education for the poor. We've supported 2.6 million students, poor students, since NSFAS started as TEFSA. And we've spent more than 59.7 billion rands. And there are students in South Africa who have experienced fee-free higher education and who are still continuing to experience it. The challenge is that we have not extended it to everybody who deserves to be supported. That's why we agree with the students. And they say, let's move faster than we have done. But this thing of a date, we started in 1991 when our late President Nelson Mandela approached the then President F.W. de Klerk and said, you start a scheme for the poor. That was the launch date. So we can't be asked about a date as if there are no processes that are actually put in place. And I think it's important that we explain this. The commission is the structure which, by the way, all student representative councils accepted. They all accepted it. So I thought that it's important that we say that. Now, we speak to student leaders practically every day. For instance, we do it on the record and off the record. That's the nature of managing this. Over the weekend, I was in KZN, I was engaging student leaders off the record from a few of the campuses of UKZN, especially the Pietermaritzburg campus that has been a problem. So we meet with the students all the time. Now, we think that we need a partnership to stabilize our institutions. Partnership between the various stakeholders, as I have said, as well as a close working relationship between university management and the security forces, where necessary. We all agree it's not nice to see police on campuses as if it's the old apartheid days. But if there's destruction of property and threat to life and limb, the security forces must come in and actually protect life and property if we are to be able to move forward. Where there is that, we have said to management, where there is threat to property and to life, work with the security police. We appreciate that with the security forces. We appreciate the fact that the police have been cooperating at a number of levels. And also they've been exercising maximum restraint. The general has said, we are exercising maximum restraint because we are not interested in hurting anyone. All what we are interested in is to be able to deal with the stability of the situation. But the stability is not only the police. The stability also is commitment to dialogue and engagement around legitimate issues that have been placed on the table. And preparedness to compromise, by the way, where necessary. It can't be that demands are, it's what we want or nothing. Being a leader requires that you know when to push forward, when to retreat, when to compromise. That does not mean that we are no longer a leader. We have all the patience to engage with the student leaders who are legitimately elected, not those that you sometimes you don't know where you take them from. If you ask them, are you from the SRC or not, you don't know. All those who are legitimately elected, we are prepared to continue to engage with them. They are our student leaders, and we are prepared to listen to them, and we've been listening to them, and we are continuing to engage in order to say it's important that our universities continue to function.
Okay.
Oh, you were, the last question, sorry. What happens if the academic year is lost? Well, firstly, you say, what are the alternative plans? Firstly, the majority of our universities are back in operation to begin with. But we are concerned about all 26 of them. Even if the majority now are back, but we are concerned about with the 26 of them. Universities have, all of them have put plans in place to say, between now and the end of the academic year, what are we going to do? Are we going to extend by a week or two? And when are we going to write examinations? In fact, they have been announcing those plans because we've been encouraging them to say they must do all they can to ensure that the academic year is not lost.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the end of our media briefing, and thanks very much.
Sorry, I know I'm keeping you now long.
No. See you there.
Mr. Ngasa, let's do one on one.